in Wisconsin from Amy Janowski, and she wants to know how to pack away bulbs and tubers of the flowers to keep them over the winter. You know, you have to dig them in the fall, otherwise they'll freeze in the ground, and then you replant them the next spring. But how do you keep them from freezing in the wintertime? Well, I found the best material to pack them in is vermiculite. Yeah, the same stuff we've been starting our seeds in all these years. Get yourself a nice sturdy cardboard box, put down a layer of vermiculite, and then put in your bulbs and your tubers that you want to save over winter. Cover them with more vermiculite and put it away in a spot that's not going to get a real hard freeze. Vermiculite has a great insulating value, so it keeps the temperature even in that box. The next letter, this is from Sherman Oaks, from David Phillips of Sherman Oaks, California. And he sent a picture of all his vertical gardening. He's got a lot of beautiful cucumbers here growing and tomatoes. And he has a very small place, but he's put in a square-foot garden right alongside and all this vertical gardening growing up in his apartment. That's kind of nice. I think you can have a garden just anywhere. You don't have to have a big yard. You know, I've been telling you that for a long time. Now, this letter is from Baltimore, Maryland, from Joseph Burrs, and he says, how good are wood and coal ashes for the garden? Well, first of all, Joe, coal ashes aren't any good. They don't do anything for your garden, but wood ashes are. Let me show you a chart in the book on the fertile value of different fertilizers, and actually wood ashes are listed. You can see that it has no nitrogen, but it has 1.5% of phosphorus, and look at this, 7% potassium. That's one of the main ingredients of fertilizer. In fact, if you look down the list here, wood ashes have the highest percentage of potassium than any other natural material. So they are good, but they also change the pH of your soil. A lot of people use wood ashes instead of lime if they want to raise the pH of their soil. But if you're already at the neutral level, say around 7, you don't want to put in any more wood ashes because that's going to give you an alkaline soil then. Well, now, if you need some other tips, please send in for my free garden tips. It tells you everything you have to know to get started. And if you've already got a garden, send in for it for some friends. It tells when and where and how, just to go about getting a square-foot garden started. I'll also include a listing of all PBS stations around the country. And this will tell you where the show is on, so if you have friends or relatives in other parts, other states, you can write and tell them about the show. And I'll include a free packet of seeds. Flower seeds, pretty dwarf marigolds, because you should have flowers in your garden. Now, to get this, all you have to do is send in a self-addressed stamped envelope, a business-size envelope. And that should be sent to this address, Square Foot Gardening, Georgetown, Connecticut, 06829. That's Georgetown, Connecticut, 06829. Our next letter is from Mrs. Burnham, and she says, we're talking about planter boxes now, you know, for the patio I've shown you that have the plywood bottom. She said, how does a carrot that's 8 or 12 inches long grow in a frame that's only 4 or 6 inches deep? Well, you got me there. I tell you what happened. I've actually tried this when the frame was only 4 inches deep, had a plywood bottom, and I grew carrots in there. Well, they went down and turned, and they came up L-shaped. And I thought, oh, this is a disaster. But then I tasted them. And you know what? They tasted like L. It wasn't any different than a regular carrot. And then I began to think, you know, this would be kind of fun to grow for children. An odd-shaped carrot. So you can still have fun gardening, even if you have very small space or very shallow space. Next letter is from Barbara Rattle from Manhattan Beach, California. And she tells us about her gardening. She says, I'm so inspired, I'm going to try a small area gardening. I have a 4-foot by 4-foot space, but it's on the second floor apartment. So she's going to just carry her soil upstairs and have a garden upstairs in her apartment. You see, anyone can have a square-foot garden, no matter where they live. Do you have one? If not, get started. This is Mel Bartholomew wishing you happy gardening.